Hello there, and welcome to Alvarez's Diecast Customs. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Hot Wheels Mercury Cougar. It's a great looking little car, this one, so let's get on with it. I've already taken the time to drill out the base on this one, taking the top of the posts off. I start off with a 2mm drill bit and work up to a 5mm. I like to use some 5mm self-tapping screws and just screw those into the base. Just taking them out now. This has a plastic chassis on this one. You have to be quite careful when you're drilling those, because if you slip you can tend to dig a great big gouge out of them. I've also popped the wheels off of these ahead of time to make it a bit easier to take it apart. It's a nice little interior on this one. It's got the hood scoop and the spoiler attached to it also, which you have to take care of. I have to do something about these wheels. I'll probably have to replace them with something a bit better. Now we'll get on to stripping the paint now. A pot of paint stripper right there. Just drop it right into that. Leave it for about 30 minutes to an hour. It's usually plenty of time just to get it all off. Shake it up well. Put it down. Leave it to a side. This is what you're left with. A little paint left in some of the crevices there, but we can get rid of that with the Dremel. Spend a while doing this one. Just really polishing the metal up. Working into those grooves and everything, trying to get rid of the last few bits of paint. Some of it you can't fully get rid of because the wire wheel doesn't quite get in there, but we can dig those out with the filing pick. As that comes out quite nicely. We're onto the filing now. I like to use a nice fine diamond file for this. Just really smooth out some of the rough casting errors on this. This one particularly had sort of a casting line sort of down both sides of the car, running from one end to the other over the roof. So I'm just really filing those down. You can see I've just finished doing quite a bit of filing on this. There's some sort of casting molding errors on the edges, on the front, around the windows, right there on the fenders as well. And on the bonnet as well, it had a line running all the way along it. And I've just taken that off. Really smooth that out. And also onto the spoiler as well. It has some flashing around the plastic on the edges there. So I'll just remove that ahead of time. Really start getting rid of that. Okay, smooth that out nicely. Just test fit it to the body there. Perfect. Do some wet sanding on this thing now. Start off with a coarser grit first. Just run all that over the body. Generally trying to keep in the same direction with the rougher grits. And then we'll move on to the finer one. We are just finishing up with the finer grit there. We can pretty much go in any direction with this. We're just really giving the final finish. Kind of polishes the body. And there it is. Looks great. Just get onto degreasing it ahead of paint. I like to use this Flash Lemon Greaser. It really sort of gets into the gaps and all that, any sort of grease, fingerprints, whatever. Really clears it out. Give that a rinse under the tap. we are. Much brighter. Now we're on to the priming now. I like to use some Halford's Grey primer. It served me well on the last build, so I'm going to stick with it for a while. Painting this outside as the sun was out. It's easier to see some of the painting errors and things if I screw up. I also did the chassis and the interior in the same primer. I attached it to a piece of cardboard using some blue tack to make it a bit easier to manipulate in front of the can. I'm going to go with some Halford's Ford Roman Bronze. It's a nice sort of metallic-y brown colour. I thought it had a nice sort of classic look to it, which I think would fit the Mercury Cougar quite well. I mean, this is quite a classic car from the mid-60s. Going over with a light coat to start off with. I'll also do the base as well, which I primed previously. I like to use a little bit of blue tack just to make it a bit easier to move it around. There we are, just give that a good coating. And then we can get on to the second coat once this is dry. Also just doing the spoiler on the interior piece too. Don't want to miss that out. And we give the body its second coat. Going on quite thick on the second coat. Make it sort of quite wet looking. It's usually a good indication that you've done as much as you need to. Trying to get it from all angles. And the same with the base. And again on the spoiler on there. Yeah, I'll just give you a closer look at that body there. It was starting to rain outside, so I didn't want to put it in front of the camera in case it got some spots of rain onto it. It's a very nice sparkly brown that comes out very nicely. So after that's dried, we can start getting on with some detailing. Using some Revell silver here and some nice decent Tamiya fine brushes. Just picking out the door handles, the keyholes, and any other little bits on the body there. There we are. Also sorted out the bonnet pins as well. Did those with silver. And we'll go on to the base now. Doing the front and rear pieces on the ends there. Doing the tail lights and the bumper. Paint all those in. Now we're on to the interior piece, which has the front headlights attached to it. So first off, we're going to go around it with some Known oil from Citadel, just to get into the depths of them, the crevices on there, to give it a bit of depth. There we are. Now we're on to painting the tail lights on this one. I like to use some clear Tamiya red. Got a nice sort of colour to this one, especially when you paint onto silvers and things. It's got quite a bit of depth to the colour. It's better than just painting on a solid red. Kind of looks a bit false when you do that. So there we are, that's done. I'll leave that to dry. I go over it with a second coat, but I didn't record that. Now on the chassis again, I like to pick out some of the details like the differentials and suspension arms and exhaust pipes. I use some Tamiya metallic grey for this, just going around it. It's a great looking colour, this one. Really trying to get at it from all angles to get good coverage. And there's that. Most of that's done. Just painting the exhaust pipes now with the Revell silver. I use that as a sort of base colour, and then I go over it with Molotow chrome pen on most of the Revell silver. And there's that done. Now on the grill piece, since I did the Nuln oil wash over it, it's gone into the depths of it, and now I'm going to go over it with my finger using some silver paint, just picking out the raised areas on it. If I were to use a brush, I probably would have put it on too thickly and would have covered a lot of the details from the Nuln oil in there. But if you brush it on with your finger, you lightly put it on. I also painted the fuel tank on the rear there in red. Just thought it would give it a bit more sort of depth of colour. Painting the interior now with some Revell tank grey. Just giving it a quick wipe over with it. This is after some time just detailing it. Did the interior there. Painted the seat belts there. And the roll cage in some silver. Also went over it in a Nuln oil wash. And the same for the chassis as well. Went over that with a Nuln oil. Also you can see some of the chrome pen on the ends there, on the bumpers, the front, and on the exhaust pipes. And also a little extra detail on the body. Used a bit of chrome pen on the bonnet pins. We need to do something about those wheels. So we're going to go see our friend Super Pochaco again. See what she's got for us this time. We got some more wheel riders today. Let's have a look at these. These look great. These will go very nicely. Thanks a lot. Anyway, moving on. Let's put it together. There's a chassis after a good clear coat. I did 2 coats of the clear coat and left it to dry for a day or two. There's those lovely new wheels. I think these go great with it. Dropping shit again. There's that interior. I also forgot to do the hood scoop on it before. So I went back and went over that with the bronze again and then clear coated it too. I was going to paint the hood scoop black, but I thought doing it in the body colour would be a better finish. Just popping that windscreen didn't really do anything to that. Pop the screws in. I will go back and put a bit of paint over the top of those screw heads at some point. Anyhow, let's go back to what we started with. It was a great looking car to begin with, but very toyish in its colours and the wheels, and that chrome sort of chassis just really wasn't doing it for me. I felt there was a lot more that this sort of model could do. So let's see what we ended up with. There you go. Great looking little car, this one. Really happy with how the colour turned out on it. It's got a very classic look to it. Very pleased with how the clear coat came out again. As I said in the last video, I think I've really got a good technique down for it now. Goes on very well. So let's take a closer look at it quickly. You can really see the sparkle in that paint and the smoothness of that clear coat there. It's lovely wheels, these are. And there's the extra detail on the front there. I also did some indicators with orange. There's the tail lights. And that added wash on the chassis there really gives some good depth. Yep, so very pleased with this one. Another one to add to the collection. Let's take a visit to Super Pochaco again and see what she's got for us next time. Nice. What's this? A Hot Wheels Muscle Bound. This is a good looking little car. See what we can do with that next time. So thanks a lot. This has been Alvarez's Diecast Customs, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.